This new style of dance music is taking over and it's led by this guy. Kettama is one of the most exciting names in dance music right now. His blend of techno, hard house, trance, speed garage has created anthems like Yosemite and Flyway Ecstasy and has put him on a generational run. He just dropped his latest album, Archangel, and it sounds insane. In this video, we're going to be breaking down what makes his production so special, and I'm going to show you how to build a Kettama style track from scratch. So much energy in this one. Covering all details from how to make those hard groovy kind of drums, creating those massive lush stab sounds and a driving bass line. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to make club ready tracks that have that same kind of energy. So let's dive into the world of Kettama's production. Over the years, Kettama's styles kind of evolved. It went from techno to having those very euphoric kind of stabs to now it's a bit more housey. But the thing is, whenever you hear his music, you know it's him because he has that unique blend of techno, hard house, speed garage, trance, pulls in all these influences to have this kind of unique blend. And that's taken him from the underground to the world's biggest stages, collaborating with artists like Fred again, and he's going to be on the lineup for Coachella next year. When it comes down to it, there's 3 major keys, and we're going to start with the first one, creating those hard driving drums. So we want to go for a faster kind of track. I'm gonna choose 138 BPM today. Usually I go for 140, but we'll slow it down a tiny bit. And we're gonna start with the kick. We really want to go for something that's hard, something that's punchy, clubby. For the drums today, I'm gonna be using my free kit called Core. If you want to grab it, link is in the description. It has drum sounds, a serum pack, and some loops in there. Just some essentials to get you going. To be honest, that first one is good. Let's drag that in. And we're just going to go for a simple 4 on the floor kick. Let's repeat that over. And then let's add in an open hat too. And we're going to put that on offbeat. And with that open hat, I just like to get rid of some low end. And then just a touch of reverb too. And let's add a clap to this bounce. That's a nice little solid foundation there. One more thing I want to add to these group of drums is just an offbeat snare. In my sampler track, I've actually added in this drum loop. So when we play it, it plays the whole thing, but instead what I'm going to do is just isolate that snare out. And let's record that in. And we kind of want it unquantized. We don't really want it to go too on the beat. That's what gives it that swing. So I'm even going to move this off grid even more. Those sounds are going to be the main part of the drums. To go for the hard groovy drums or the hard house kind of drums, you want to use some old school loops. With the drum loops, it's a bit of trial and error trying to figure out the groove. When it comes to the loops, really I'm trying to just go for the high end so it gives it that energy, and I'm layering them on top, but I'm also just trying to figure out where the grooves fit. So I kind of don't want that first part, but I do like that triangle in there. And then let's see what else we can find. So I got 2 more loops pulled in, and I've used a transient shaper just to make it sharper. With this one, I've added in some tide chain, just so we have it flowing more like a open hat. So altogether, for those highs, that's what we're rolling with. Now just for some extra processing, what I'm going to do is group these tracks. And then I like to throw just a little bit of this plugin called Orion on there. Just livens up the drums a little bit. That's sounding good, but there's one more thing that we're missing for the groove, and that's the vocal chop. So I found this loop. I really like that vocal chop that's in there, but I definitely don't want all those drums because it's quite busy, so I'm literally just going to chop it out. Yeah, that's sounding cool. So now that we got the drums down, let's move on to the signature of Kettama style, which is those chord stabs. Before we get into that part though, just want to talk about my sponsor for this video, Playlist Push. Big shout out to them for sponsoring this one. Real talk, being an artist these days, is tough. There's over 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify and DSPs every single day. So getting your track heard by people, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough. You can make the best track in the world, but if nobody hears it, it doesn't matter. And that's why I started using Playlist Push. It's a platform that connects your music directly to curators on Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Not bots, not fake streams that is gonna get your music pulled down. Actual people who are gonna help your music grow organically. Playlist Push has been trusted by over 25,000 artists and labels for more than 7 years, helping independents like me and you get discovered every day. I've personally used it myself for my last release to get some momentum going. So if you've got a track dropping or even an older one that you think deserves a little bit more love, not just being listened to by your mom, your grandma, head to playlistpush.com and use my code OceanPush2025 to get 15% off your first campaign. When it comes to the melodies, the sounds that we want to go for are saw sounds, trancey kind of saw sounds. So I've got this plugin pulled up called Zenology, and they got some good ravey stabs going there. So I've penciled in some chords. It took me a little while to find the melody, and it sounds like this. And what I'm doing here, I'm intentionally moving chords up and down in different octaves. So we start kind of mid-range, and then it goes up and down. That kind of just gives it the range. And the way I'm doing this as well, some of the chords are quite similar. They have pretty much the same notes, but instead what I'm doing, I'm just inverting the notes. So I'm moving them up in different octaves. So that's one sound. I think we should just keep duplicating it and stacking as many saw sounds as we can. The reason why we want to use multiple saw sounds, multiple sounds in general, and just layer them up is because to get that really Kettama sound, the stabs always sound really big, really in your face. The way how I think he actually does it is probably chopping up samples and then using those samples as the notes. But the way we're going to do it today is just using some saw sounds. So I'm just leveling them out now, and then what I'm going to do is just control everything and bounce it into one audio file, and then from there we can manipulate it even more. So in terms of that rhythmic pattern, we got it down, we got the melody down, but I noticed sometimes with his patterns he reverses chords. So I've bounced the audio of the piano, I've chopped it up a little bit, and these audio files down here are the reverses, so it sounds like this. And then I've also shortened these two notes just so it has more like a stutter effect. So together with the massive stabs, it's sounding cool, but we need to whack on a bunch of effects to really nail this sound. So these are my final chords. What I'm going to do is just group them together, so when we put the effects on, we can put the effects on both of them at the same time. First things first, we want to EQ it just a little bit. You know what, I might even just pitch this up. I feel like it might sound a little bit nicer. So we're going to put some EQ, a little bit of delay too. I really like this one in effects racks, but we'll just turn it down a little bit. Then I'm also going to put this filter on just at the end of the chord so it dips a tiny bit. I'm adding this pan so it moves side to side, but I want it to be a lot more subtle, so we turn down the mix. And the last thing to put on this is some reverb. Immediately, that just sounds way more in your face now. Now for the melody, really all we need is a drone kind of effect. Maybe even just up an octave. Now that we've got the drums down, the melody down, we need to add in a bass line. We've got all the pieces to our beat. Let's go ahead and arrange it, because that's when the track is going to come alive and everything will make sense. First thing I'm going to do is just duplicate over my drums a couple of times. Then I'm going to have a break in between there, a break in between there, and then we'll bring in the drums here. So right in the middle here, that's going to be the breakdown. I'm probably not going to bring in the stabs until around the break, so let's move that over there. For now we can delete that. And then also for the bass line, the way I'm going to bring it in, we're going to simplify it and just keep it on one note. We'll repeat that over, and then once we get into the second section, that's when we can bring in the bass. As the track is progressing, we're just adding more elements just so we're building it up. So for this section here, we could probably put in a ride. So I've thrown this one in there. Just gives it some more energy. And then every time we introduce a section, we also just want to put in a crash. Bang. And that's when we drop it. I've gone through and I've arranged the track as much as possible. So let me break down all the sections and everything I've done. We start with the drums and the basic bass line. Towards the end of the break, I've just reversed my drum section and that goes into the next section nicely. But then also there's a reversed cymbal on that as well that just emphasizes it. These little things, they do make a big difference. For the break drums, it's literally everything but minus the kick with some more reverb on it. And also at the same time, I've got a down lifter going on that and some more risers going into the next part. I've got the stabs coming in on that impact. And then I've also added in this snare roll. So it speeds up towards the end. And then it completely speeds up. But also, you might notice as well, what I'm doing to the EQ, I'm rolling off the lows as we continue on. And then it just goes into the high end with a tiny bit of endless smiles, some reverb. With the stabs too, I've added a low pass filter. So as we progress, it starts to filter down. One more thing I've done to make it really interesting, I've layered a kick and a crash going at the same time. So it really emphasizes that stomp. Throughout this track too, I've added in some vocals. Now this vocal is one that I used for one of the very first songs that I dropped when I first started making house music. Really, it's just a vocal from Splice, but the way how I've chopped it, I've pitched it up and added a bunch of echo on it. So it really gives it that euphoric kind of feeling that we're trying to go for. And in the hook, it repeats. So let's take a listen to the full track and hear what we've done. The bass line is really adding to the groove. The crashes come in. So this is like the nice break section before we bring back in the energy. So much energy in this one. And that is how you make a Kettama style track. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if there's any other tutorials that you want to see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.